A researcher arrives at a sandstone escarpment in central Queensland and starts counting petroglyphs and does not stop until the number passes 15,000. That's not an outlier. Queensland keeps producing discoveries that the accepted story of pre-contact Australia simply has no room for, and 3 of them, found in the last few years, change the picture entirely.
A 160-meter sandstone escarpment on Inningai land, about 890 kilometers northwest of Brisbane, sits in a place called Marrawonga, which means place of many stories in the Inningai language. It turns out to be exactly that. When Professor Paul Takon and a Griffith University team began working with Inningai traditional owners in September 2020, what they found inside the shelter wasn't just quantity, it was a specific kind of complexity. Animal tracks, grooves, drilled holes, 111 hand and object stencils, 7 large star-shaped engravings with central pits, enormous snake carvings that run directly through older work, as if whoever made them was deliberately in conversation with what came before. And on the shelter floor, foot petroglyphs, some with 6 or more toes. The findings, published in Australian Archaeology in 2022, showed that 10 clusters of designs run in deliberate sequence from south to north. Inningai elders read that sequence as a connected narrative of the Seven Sisters story, a dreaming story tied to the Pleiades that appears across the continent. Takon identified Marrawonga as one of only 4 rock art sites in Australia linked to that tradition. The age of the carvings hasn't been confirmed by direct dating yet. Mud wasp nest sampling is planned, but the interpretive structure is already there, already readable, already old. Move southwest, deep into the Channel Country desert of Mithaka Country, near the Simpson Desert and the Birdsville Track. Dr. Michael Westaway's University of Queensland team, publishing in Antiquity in 2021, documented 179 quarry sites spread across 33,800 square kilometers. One site alone holds approximately 25,000 individual quarry pits. These weren't scattered diggings. They were producing grindstones traded across the continent in exchange for ochre, stone axes, and pituri. Westaway called it Australia's Silk Road, stretching from the Gulf of Carpentaria to the Flinders Ranges in South Australia. Mithaka Aboriginal Corporation Director Tracy Hough put it plainly, "We weren't just nomadic beings wandering around the landscape lost."
2 sites, 2 completely different kinds of evidence. The same conclusion: the accepted picture is too small. Between Marrawonga and the Mithaka quarries, which one hit harder? The 15,000 petroglyphs telling a single connected story, or a trade network spanning an entire continent? Drop your answer in the comments below. Because the 3rd site takes this somewhere neither of those could go on their own. On Kukuwara country, in a remote corner of southeast Cape York Peninsula, a rock shelter called Windmill Way was excavated in 2022. The findings were published in Australian Archaeology in late 2025, and what researchers found inside shouldn't exist, not because it's strange, but because it survived. More than 90% of the tools Aboriginal people used in daily life were made from plant and animal materials. Under almost all Australian conditions, those materials are gone within years. Centuries destroy them entirely. Windmill Way is the rare exception. The dry, stable air inside the shelter created conditions that preservation science almost never gets to work with. Inside, more than 500 fragments of plant fiber string and woven objects, Radiocarbon dating confirmed the oldest pieces were made approximately 1,700 years ago. Dilly bags, nets, tassel belts, mourning necklaces, and bark bundles caught in early stages of preparation, suggesting this wasn't just a place where finished objects were stored. People were actively making string here, returning to the same shelter across generations to do it. Then you look at the walls. Painted rock art in the Quincan style shows women wearing tassel string belts and carrying dilly bags, the exact objects pulled from the ground below. The art and the artifacts are the same cultural record, preserved in two completely different forms, one in pigment, one in fiber. Across 1,700 years, the craft barely changed. Following the Mythica publication, Westaway's team received funding to investigate whether Aboriginal communities in the Channel Country were cultivating plant species. Ethno-historic records describe flood-driven irrigation and managed plant resources. That investigation is still running. The results haven't been published. 3 sites: a shelter with 15,000 petroglyphs narrating a dreaming story, a continent-spanning quarry network that Mythica people built and ran, and a cave that held 1,700 years of stringcraft that had no right to survive. Together, they're dismantling the framework, the idea that pre-contact Aboriginal Australia was simple, static, or small. Queensland's archaeological record keeps producing sites the accepted version of Australian history didn't account for. It isn't finished yet. Subscribe for every new Queensland discovery as it breaks, and watch this one next.